With the arrival of warmer days, we're soon going to see an influx of injured and orphaned wildlife. But here's the big question. When should you step in and help? And when is it actually best to just leave them alone? So Kelly Gebhardt with Happy Tales Emergency Veterinary Clinic is joining us today. And we're going to be talking about all of that. So I think so very often, spring is called like, you know, the baby season, right? You see all the little baby, I don't know, squirrels, possums, what?
Squirrels, birds, possums, chipmunks, flying squirrels, fawns, you name it, we see it that's brought in.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times people will be like, oh my gosh, I saw it. It was sitting by itself. It looked like it was injured. What is the big mistake that we make when we see this?
The biggest mistake we see is when they get baby napped. And it's you know, people are mean well and it's good intentioned, but a lot of times they're stealing little like bunnies that they think are orphaned that actually aren't, or birds that are on the ground living their natural fledgling life and don't need to be saved, right? So knowing when to help is really important. Little nestlings, little naked birdies that are falling out of the nest, those need help. They need to be put back into the nest. If you can't get them back into the nest, then creating your own little nest with, say, a plastic container with holes drilled in the bottom for drainage. Can't use a cardboard box, because it would get soaked with water. So plastic container, holes in the bottom for drainage, some soft material. If you can't get it up into the nest, you can make that little nest and put it as close as possible to the real nest. Mom and dad will find them, right?
Okay.
With bunnies, if you think, oh, there's a nest and mom's not coming back, mom only comes to the nest maybe twice a day. So if you're worried they've been abandoned or mom's been hit by a car, you could put grass in the shape of an X, like 2 grass leaves, long lengths, over the nest. If you come back the next day, give it a day. If the grass is not disturbed, you know mom has not come back.
Okay.
And then the babies need help. Babies are very independent from mom at an early age. We get a lot of like little bunnies that actually don't need help, that if they are fully haired, eyes opened, and ears erect, they are fine. They are living their life and they don't need help. If they are injured somehow, then they need help. But
all right, here's my question. So I had this actually happen. What happens? You're mowing the lawn, right? And you go over the bunny nest, but then there's one bunny left and it's all by itself. And you know that it's by itself because unfortunately the lawnmower ran over the rest of them.
Yeah.
Then what do you do?
Do the grass in an X over the nest, and mom will still take care of that one bunny.
If that mom is still alive.
If the mom is still alive,
Okay.
yes. If you haven't run over mom.
And if not?
Then you can call a licensed rehabilitator, a wildlife rehabilitator. If you think an animal needs help, call a wildlife rehabilitator and they'll give you instructions on how to assess it and also connect you with a rehabilitator if they determine that that wildlife really needs help.
All right, is there a risk to touching, feeding the little animals?
Good questions. One, there's no risk to touching. Human scent will not deter the moms. So that's kind of an
That's
old
a
wives'
myth.
tale. Old wives' tale.
Okay.
Yep. So you can put the baby bird back and mom won't care. However, don't feed anything to any wildlife because a lot of times they're cold. And so if you feed them, the food will actually curdle in their stomach and cause other problems. So we often just start with like saline, liquid saline to rehydrate. And we don't start food until we know that they're normal temperature, and each animal requires a certain nutrient profile. So we have different foods for each thing.
Gotcha. Okay. This time of year, it's super common for people to get baby bunnies and baby chicks for their kids. They think it's super sweet during Easter time. And then what do you see about like 3 weeks later?
Unfortunately, we see a lot of them at the shelter. A lot of the bunnies will end up at the shelter because they become more of a responsibility than what owners are prepared to entail, and the baby chicks turn into chickens. And it's most important before you buy a pet is to learn about their husbandry or care requirements. So living conditions, adult requirements, food as they're growing from baby to adult. And you know, what is that life going to look like in your world? Does it fit with your lifestyle? And chicks and bunnies are cute, but they do develop into adults, and then a lot of times people say, oh, this isn't for me, and then they end up unwanted or at the shelter. So making sure you gather all your information and make the best choice for your family is the most important thing.
Excuse me. Okay. One last question really quick. Dogs get pancreatitis all the time, right? They eat something and then they get sick, and the only thing that can happen is to take them to the emergency vet clinic, and they just have to wait it out for a couple of days.
Right.
That's expensive.
Right. So pancreatitis is, so the pancreas is the organ in the body that produces insulin and digestive enzymes for the body. So a dog gets into the trash or gets a fatty meal or has a foreign body, and the pancreas becomes inflamed. and that can take days of hospitalization and treatment with intensive care. There is a new drug out called Panaquel, which is one of the only medications we have available to actually treat pancreatitis specifically. It's an injectable medication that actually blocks the inflammation within the organ itself. So it actually decreases pain and symptoms faster. It helps them recover more quickly and get out of hospital faster.
Right, and it's a couple $100 you said for each shot, but it lessens the amount of time you have to stay in the hospital, and that is $1,000 a day.
Or more, depending on the size of your pet. So it's an investment up front for a long-term investment gain. Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Kelly Gebhardt joining us. Hey, if this is an interview that you need to send to somebody else, maybe they were thinking about getting that baby chick or whatever else for Easter, this is going to be in the Who Wants to Know section of our website. Right now, we're going to get a check on that forecast.